The brothers Wisp. The brothers Wisp, brothers Wisp. The brothers Wisp. The brothers.
You're now listening to Greg. It's the
Hey guys, welcome to WISPAPALOOZA 2019. The show is mostly over. Tomorrow's Fiber Friday stuff. Are any of you guys staying around for that?
No. I'll be here, but I don't know if I'm going to it.
Same. I don't have credentials to go to it, so it's like maybe, maybe not.
Do my credentials let me go to it?
You
You're
probably do anyway.
So I can do whatever I want.
I should have them give me a press thing because I'm the one that arranges it all anyway.
Yeah, but on actually I get to do whatever with the press thing. Yeah, it's been super fun having a press tag. The hotel staff don't even look at me twice. They're all scared of me because I just point at Trina and be like,
Y'all ice or something?
huh?
But so our audience has grown significantly over the past 4.5 years. Many of you probably don't even know who that guy is.
Hello guys. Make it what would you even call it? A temporary return. Yeah.
JJ was with the Brothers Wisp before I was with the Brothers Wisp.
Yeah, I think Greg and me and Justin were,
Some of the OGs.
yeah, some OGs. We can thank Greg for putting us all together. And then I think he just likes to put people together and just stir it.
Yeah, likes to watch the.
I remember he always used to really enjoy when I would be on there because he's like, I never know which ditch you're going to drive the conversation into.
Well, and so my favorites were always we're talking about something, and then you found a way to work Big O Bone Blacks into that conversation. You're like, oh, well, I used a Big O Bone Black for that, and we did this.
I have one somewhere still.
What's that
I
now?
still have one somewhere.
Yeah.
Are you still messing with that stuff?
What is it again?
Your old Big O Bones and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well, now it's more refined, I guess. But yeah, we've got a lot of Arduinos. At some point along the way, I said, I need to buy a house and do stuff.
How's it going, guys?
And so
Sit over here.
Yeah,
do.
sit over there. Yeah, so you're
kind of do less with the hobby stuff and do more with the making money stuff. But I hope to transition back at some point.
Sure. We should probably introduce everybody else because only Miller and I are really on the show regularly.
Yeah.
So you've probably heard a lot from Tommy over the week.
Yeah, you guys are gonna be sick of me. When it comes-
We were sick of you.
Well, yeah. Now you're just gonna want to kill me. It's gonna be horrible. You're stuck with my voice all week. I did all the interviews for Brothers Wisp.
I can't wait to see them all.
Oh, you won't. You'll stop pretty quick. Guaranteed.
I don't think so.
I know you got a lot because I erased the car before I came here, and it still had all the spring conference stuff that we did, and then this other random shit that I did.
We don't want to hear about that.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, it didn't take a lot of time. But then there's all that, and then this morning Tommy was already out. The card was already full. I only had 40 gigs before total on the card. He got 64 gigs up.
Oh,
The show was
who's
even over.
editing all that?
This guy right here. Yeah, that works.
The guy that has no time.
It's probably gonna end up hitting me. Yeah, honestly.
No, I'll probably play him through, and then most of it's just well, that's fine. I'll just slap the crap on the front, slap the end on the back, and out it goes. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Most of them are fine. Years past, or I just didn't care. No one cares about that. So we got Justin Miller. You guys know who that is?
I'm supposed to give a shout out to Mr. Johnson's, aka Two Toilets, and that's a joke between us. So he said he would laugh or
I don't know if you're talking about.
watch the show and listen to the show if I give him a shout out. So if you know who I'm talking about, let him know this is a shout out. So he was like, "There's a Brothers Wisp guy!" Yelled it right across, and I was like, "Oh God, spotted in the wild!" I gotta hide.
So you're trying to bring toilet humor to the conversation?
What? No, it's just his
What
last
brought him
name
to
is
the potential new
Johnson,
subscriber?
plural, I guess, right? So he made the joke first. I said I'll give a shout out for that. So
Michael Rhone,
That's me.
in the myth, the legend.
I won't go that far.
Well,
But he will.
Okay.
yeah.
But yeah, so Mike works for IgniteNet.
Yep.
And the only person I know that still works there.
Yeah, pretty much.
you know Tony.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure you've met Tony.
Yeah, I've met Tony, but I never like.
Changed a lot lately, but we're doing pretty well.
And
I'm a resident Alaskan at this point, I guess.
yeah. I guess it's a good thing that Dare didn't make it, because then we have Alaska versus Texas here.
We already had an Alaska versus Texas conversation.
Well, yeah, but now we have it on our camera.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, that would be fantastic.
I would be game for that. Actually, yeah.
Alaska would win.
I would say so too,
And there's no
but I want
Mexico team, no dispute it. So. That's how we play that game.
And you know me.
Everyone knows your mom.
But
What would you say is the theme of this show? Like, what stood out in your mind as the front runner topic?
I'm probably the worst person to ask, because for me the theme of the show was dealing with problems back home.
CBRS.
Yep.
All the vendors were talking about it.
Yep.
All of them were like, even Mimosa brought their airspan stuff that had CBRS stuff, and they're like, yeah, we aren't even like, there's nobody here who we think is gonna buy it. We sell it only like we sell it in India. And I was like, and they're like, oh, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool stuff. But yeah, everybody brought their stuff. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody was looking at how that's gonna go. I even heard conspiracy theories about CBRS.
Yeah, I had some conspiracy theories shared with me regarding CBRS as well. So, but CBRS was definitely the theme from my perspective.
Yeah, well, and I think that's because like it's actually gonna happen soon. Like, I mean, people say it's gonna happen, like we're talking just a couple months. Like, there's already people doing
ICDs.
live tests of the of the CBRS platforms, the SaaS servers and whatnot. It's kind of interesting because Airspan was here via Mimosa. Airspan was at WISPA shows years ago when 700 megahertz was all the rage. Like, rural telcos were buying 700 megahertz, and Airspan was like the vendor of choice for that because nobody else cared. Because it's pretty much just AT&T, Verizon, and then rural telcos. And I think rural telcos were looking for something a little bit cheaper than the Samsung, Ericsson stuff.
Block auction.
Yeah. Well, and then also then we had Nokia was here, Ericsson was here.
I think the CAF funding disbursement and awards have seeded a lot of that. Like Crown Castle was here, and I stood there for a while at their booth, and it was basically just folks standing there getting browbeat. Was my observation,
Yeah, the Crown Castle has a lot of, it's not really technical debt, but pissed off people debt they have to work through.
Yeah, I'm sure they can get there.
Yeah, like they talk about how they're, reapproaching WISPs from a new space. I think part of it's because of the CAF. I think part of it's because their bread and butter is going elsewhere. With Verizon and AT&T working with Tillman Infrastructure to build their own towers because they got tired of paying somebody else. Which is odd because Verizon and AT&T sold their towers to American Tower and Ground. And now they don't like paying them. I guess they don't know how leases work. Well, and then also, with, small cells kind of taking all the hotness, because, AT&T, Verizon, they're not going to be deploying their 5G platforms from micro towers.
I have 5G now.
You are
Excellent.
I only got like 5 megs during the show.
5G, excellent.
5G Edge. It's the new
Which
Edge.
actually, I saw a Root Metrics article where it was in Dallas. The LTE was significantly more performant than the 5G service.
It's actually working well right now. 75 down, 78, 80.
Now that everyone left.
Now that everyone's gone, it works fine.
Yeah.
80,
Great.
80
I
down.
thought that's what 5G is supposed to do, is just completely offload.
35.
And super dense environments. Oh, they don't have it here yet. But your phone says it does.
It's 5G. I mean, I'm waiting for. I gotta talk to Nathan and get that 9G.
He said anybody can use it.
It's, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of LTE vendors I didn't even heard of at the show.
Yeah.
Didn't talk to them, but didn't really talk to a lot of people, but.
So from my perspective, I haven't been to a show in about 5 years. And so coming back in and coming to a WISPAPALOOZA after a 5-year hiatus and viewing the industry now versus then, a big observation I had was the show's much bigger, but I'm not convinced it's bigger with new operators. I think it's bigger with outside interest, is my observation. There's a lot of MBAs showing up, a lot of attorneys showing up, a lot of regulatory folks showing up, and out of all of the breakouts and talks that were being done, I spent more time in regulatory stuff than I did technical, which I didn't see that. Like everything I had picked out before I got here was all technical stuff, and then when it actually started happening, I would sit in on the technical and be like, okay, and then I'd wander over and just, oh, I haven't heard this. So I think it's good for us to have, like project management breakouts and this, all the things, because as we start, all of us are getting bigger and scaling and trying to figure out how to manage these things that we've built.
You have to do a lot more business development on the back end to be able to support the technical stuff. So you can't just focus on that. All right, I've built a really good network, but I've just got an absolute crap, business behind it that's not functioning properly. And that's what we spent the past year and a half doing on our side, was developing our business.
Yeah, most of us are rather technical inclined, so we're comfortable with the tech stuff, but the problem is you come to the show to learn new stuff. I already know everything they're talking about, most of it they're talking about technically, but, in a smaller shop, where you have to do more things, you also have, knowing the tech is important as knowing how to do marketing and HR. If you're under 15 people, you're the HR person too. And, knowing how to handle that kind of stuff and, so other than tech sessions that I've been, spoke at, I haven't gone to a tech session in a long time because it's like, I don't need reinforcement of what I think I know. I need, show me new stuff, show me things where I'm not good, so I can be better at those.
Where to start.
Well, I think everybody in this room probably is, just by, us being here, we're capable of going out and teaching ourselves how to use the technology. That's our forte, that's what we're interested in, that's what brought us into the industry. For me at least, that's true.
Yeah,
Business side, not so much.
Yeah, no, I was actually just, Josh Saban Powder and the Sonar guy, Nick, terrible with names, but both of them were talking about a lot of their, when I was asking what they think the industry is going to, or what's the big thing that they're looking at trying to answer, power code or Visp and Sonar are both like, we want to be business, help guys do business, like be able to and like be resources in that regard, and that's so true. Like when I'm doing Wisp stuff, I can do the technical stuff day in day out. I spend a shit ton of time trying to figure out how the business runs and figure out how to do things well, and just playing with numbers. So,
Spreadsheets.
yeah,
It's all spreadsheets all the way
Yeah,
down.
that's kind of my life. It's like over here, I got an MOU that I'm working on, and over here I got a spreadsheet. It's all my math on what I'm trying. Like, it's like, okay, here's what it means to our organization financially, and here's what the customer's going to see. You know, that's literally a big part of it. And within the organization that I work at, we use Sonar. We're really far down that path, and the biggest thing that I took away from what they were saying during their event was they're going to have an EPC built in to Sonar. So it kind of sounded like they're just going to give it to you as part of the solution. So that kind of reinforces that theme of CBRS, like LTE. And if you're already a Sonar user, that'll be really great. Because you don't have to buy yet another thing at a per sub price, because those things add up, and that money comes from somewhere, and you're just going to tack it onto the bill or do something. So if you can, do something with a product you're already using and not have to buy something else, that's a win.
Oh, that's a huge win.
Here's a tangent into a rant off of that. I know that Sonar loves the cloud. And I don't think anybody has successfully ran long-term a cloud EPC. Bicells is the biggest one that people know of and work with, and not all the issues people have are there's the connectivity to the EPC, and then not being in complete control of change management of the EPC. Is just, well, it changes when it changes, and you deal with it because it's huge. It's not yours. You just wait until they fix it if it breaks.
I talked to them a little bit about so the way that we run it, we run a lot of scripts in MikroTik, and we've got a batcher that collects DHCP, and we've got pollers all over our network that poll things. I said, I was more or less asking, well, how about just augmenting the poller software to be, an EPC component, and then that offloads to the cloud. And it sounded like, I'm not going to speak for them, but it sounds like that may be something that they could pursue.
So that's something, that solves a lot of it, because it's like, well, people are getting frustrated with all these, and, Bicells is the biggest one, but there's so many of them that do that, and they all have that same, when it's not yours, you have those problems.
And I know as an operator, we are schizophrenic. Like the group that, we'll buy whatever and stick it in. It'd be nice to be able to do that with LTE. It's like, okay, I'm gonna buy some airspan, I'm gonna buy some of this, I'm gonna play with it and have something that's just back there that you can work with whatever vendor, whether it be Bicells or whomever. It sounds fun to me, being so far down the Sonar path. That was probably for me on an individual level the best thing that I took away from the show was just the Sonar stuff. And of course the Sonar backpack, they gave a bunch of them out.
That's a great backpack.
Yeah, it's super nice. It's as nice as the one that I bought for $100 a couple of years ago.
Yeah, so put on a good show there.
Get that sweet show swag, dude.
Yeah, and then another thing, I'm just going through my mind, okay, what stood out in your mind? The Ubiquity ONU SFP that was here. It was the first time I'd seen one of those. The U-Fiber SFP. I was happy to see that. I've not even seen that, not in the beta store or anything, so that's it was really good. I was happy to see that because I got so many use cases where I love to remove a piece of equipment and put SFP in a microtick or something.
Sure.
Other than just having an ONU that fails to route correctly all the time.
Yeah, obviously, I don't know, I haven't worked with the Ubiquity one, but I have briefly, within like less than an hour, worked with the Desan Zone SFP ONU. And you know, in a microtick, the Baltic fiber training thing this summer, they had one, so we just sat there, just kind of worked out how to make it work. And it was, you know, it was nice, you know, because wasn't quite sure if it was just be a dumb bridge or what, we were able to do multiple VLANs and stuff. It's all that shit is configured at the OLT. So, all right, well, you know, you just need microtick to be able to accept it, and it did. So that was nice.
It's awesome. I could never get the profiles to line up with the Ubiquity OLTs with the microtick ONU SFPs. There's some hack that's floating around there I think people are doing with getting IDs out of somewhere and flashing ROMs or something. I was like, I can't teach everybody to do that. I mean,
Doesn't sound good for production anyway.
exactly.
Yeah, you know, because it can be done doesn't mean it should be done.
Exactly. It's like a one-off, play with on your desk, yeah. But on the back of hundreds of homes or thousands of homes, probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, or like, you know, or in, you know, some one-offs where it's like, okay, like, you know, here's this customer and we know that he's the one that has this special thing. And you just deal with it.
Sure. Those are unique special project situations.
Yeah.
Where you're like, yep, I can make this happen, and then you're like, I'm not gonna do this everywhere.
Yeah. But I was happy to see that. That'll be really good for operations. That way we can get down to having one closure. We probably deploy their, I've not really seen a lot of photographs of folks deploying the OLTs the way that we have been, but it's probably just because I have my head in the sand. But we've been using a third-party enclosure and then putting ONU on the back of the home and then, you know, using copper and powering it across that. Just because we do a lot of single-family homes. If you're in like the MDU space, it probably would make sense to be doing that. But we do a lot of single-family homes and small businesses that way.
Yeah, that's what we're looking at doing, actually.
So it'd be great if there were an enclosure. Like, they don't even have to put active electronics in it, just an enclosure with some storage, the ONU just, or build one, even better yet, is to have one that maybe has a little bit of expanded temperature range, to put in an enclosure on the back of homes and whatnot, because we're really cognizant about it being like, if it's a south-facing or west-facing wall that we're putting it on, it's gonna be a problem, eventually.
You know, fairly high temps.
Yeah, we've had a number of them fail, but the logos haven't been failing like that. And it's just the ones that have that LCD little screen on.
Extra heat generated from the light.
Yeah, something. But we put a number of those out there. It's been a really good product for us. Like I've enjoyed using it. I like that it integrates. You know, we use a lot of Ubiquity. And it's just nice being able to manage from.
Sticking on the same single pane glass.
Yep.
I was pushing them this year. I was like, hey, you guys got UMS and CRM in one box. For the love of God, can you just add Unify in there too? So I've got literally a single pane glass that I can log into.
That would be amazing.
Across the top.
That would be so amazing.
It's
Even
so
if it
cheap
just.
for a heavy duty server these days, like about $2,500 and have just an absolute overkill server that you can drop online on.
Yeah, we manage at this point. We offer everyone Unify that we do installs for.
Just ancillary service, man.
Yeah, and then, you know, like it's so fun when you go into our Unify control, we operate 5 different ones just because we hit scale at one and then move to another one and then another one and then another one. But we manage like 6,000 Unify sites, like all across all these servers that are just layer 3 adopted. Like, that was a huge thing for us, just being able to add those services on and then manage the experience all the way to the device. Like it was great for us as an operator.
Keeps your churn down and, you know, lets you, we set ours up for 0 ROI basically. We just used it to be able to keep people sticky and make, you know, reduce support calls, reduce churn. That's what makes the money, basically. So
I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's a loss later.
So
How does
what?
it work? It's a loss leader.
Yeah.
So what else did you guys see that really struck your fancy? We went up.
I can't remember the name of the product, but there was this guy, the G.NH protocol, the
Positron?
Yeah,
Something like that?
yeah. Did
Yeah.
you see that?
I did.
Yeah,
It's cool.
yeah. I'm gonna get a
2
few of
pairs,
those.
coax.
We have the
You got
same, we have that product too, along the same line.
Yeah. It's already out.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
we
I said.
There's one coax though, right? There's no.
Yeah, it's coax.
Pair.
We're deploying that right now.
Yeah.
32 unit apartment complex.
What kind of port density does that product have?
16 off of a single strand of coax.
Okay.
So you have to, if you're doing more than that, you're gonna need to do more runs, but
Mm-hmm. And then how many ports are on?
Just one.
just one.
Okay, one.
The single unit is both the point master and the end unit
Yes.
slave.
Okay. That's clever.
Mhm.
But I seen that stood out to me. I didn't see the other ones probably because it's, when you're walking around the show floor, it's just like,
So much stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard to, I mean, you could walk at 500 tons and still not see every little thing. But that stood out in my mind, just, we do more in the MU space. We had quite a few VDSL, ZTE boxes all over the place, and it's kind of like, I don't know if we're gonna keep, be able to keep using those, but maybe Trump will buy them from us.
Could be.
That's one of the conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
Theories, like, really? You really think they will?
That's been the rumor floating around, but we had some Huawei, ZTE. I mean, we were buying all kinds of Chinese stuff and sticking them everywhere. And then the heat started coming on, and it's like, maybe we shouldn't do that anymore. But we can get a full 64 port VDSL chassis for $700. It's like,
Oh.
You have to, whereas, even a used Calyx E7, two slot chassis with just one card, 48 port, is about $6,000
yeah.
used.
I mean, these things are disposable. I mean, Lightning, who cares?
Or no, sorry, that was new. It was about $3,000
Okay.
used. But yeah.
And it lets you do silly things, the same way that we deploy the Ubiquity stuff, the OLTs. We do silly things. If you're on, a Calyx platform, you could never do some of the stuff we do. Because you'd be like, oh my God, I gotta get it back in the central office because I can only buy one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's 20 homes, here's an OLT, and oh, there's 10 homes, there's an OLT. But if you're running, one of those big platforms, I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent, it just gives you flexibility
Sure.
to do things that you couldn't do from a cost perspective. If it's like you'd never set an OLT for 12 homes, and then you couldn't backhaul it with wireless, and then feed the homes with the fiber, and then build the demand, and then backhaul it with fiber if you ever even need to. We started doing quite a bit of that. So I'm just happy to see our industry start kind of. It's like we're the aggregator, like WISP. We've kind of been. I was in a meeting the other day where I told the lady I'd bring her packets in a wheelbarrow if I needed to do so. And in other words, we'll figure it out. And so I've really, in my work life, kind of started adopting that mentality of, I'll just use whatever technology works, whether it's DSL or, the new protocols coming out and push more bits over.
So that's a scale issue too, though. I mean, as your business grows, you will have to some extent, for sourcing equipment, things like that, limit some of your capabilities of doing that. I mean, we're competing with large companies. Us personally, we're competing with the ILEC in some areas now they got cap funding to overbuild areas for wireless stuff, and we're able to, WISP industry is able to adapt much quicker and change, focus much quicker just because we're a smaller entity. But as we grow, we lose that to some extent, I think. But I think we can, if you stay well vertically integrated on your operational side of things, then you can again shift that quicker.
Or, on your one-offs, do your one-offs in one or two styles instead of.
Yeah, have cookie cutter.
Oh yeah.
But have your cookie cutter. Yeah.
This is the one-off OLT cabinet and batteries and this and
Yep.
here's the one-off. we have one or two styles of one-off instead of, like,
I kind of think of it at this point, we have, like, when you get a tub of Legos, you've got all the different pieces in there. There's like 22 different kinds of Legos. That's kind of what we have going on with our organization. We inventory, I think we're up to like 119 or 120 unique inventory items, but it's kind of like Legos, and every time I think about that constantly, whenever we try something new, it's like, oh, I'm gonna have to keep a pile of this stuff now. And so I never thought about that before. It's like, oh, I'm gonna play with stuff, it's cool. And now it's, oh, well, we're gonna have to inventory this, and how many do I need to keep on hand, and how much of it do we have out there? And you think about it differently when you start to scale.
And managing it and making sure that you're kept up to date on security vulnerabilities and everything else there.
do all those 120 items work in Unums?
I'm not sure.
They will after this meeting.
Get the debug for.
Well, I mean, some of them are like battery chargers, so like 24-volt battery chargers, there's dumb. So the answer to that would be no. That would be amazing though.
It,
Had everything.
yeah, if it can be backed up, work with Thomas.
Yeah.
Get it squared away. No, on that tangent, from one company we're working with, use Unums for everything, that it can, because I didn't build anything, I got no documentation, so I was like, well, let's just collect all the configs and change shit and hope we don't break something. I don't know why it was configured a certain way. Discovered that the Calyx E7 platform doesn't have show run. There's just no way of doing it. Like, oh, well, how do I back this up? Heck with Luminous or whether it's rancid or oxidized or this. How do I back it up? I don't know. So, I just can't do everything.
I think the most exciting thing I found from the show, to touch back on that question, was we're a power code user, and upcoming in their new build is the ability to have some kind of smart or more intelligent route optimization from Google Maps built into our scheduling platform. Where we can basically have a push button for my dispatching crew that will give them a suggested, prioritization of jobs across the board for each tech to better utilize technical crews to go out and get stuff done, which is something that I haven't necessarily been struggling with, but it's, it's not a technical issue, but it's still like and if I could get, one more job on each of my technician schedules, we're booked out 2 months right now. It's insane, but if I can get one more job on each of my technician schedules, then that's fantastic. That's what it's about.
In one of my hats, running a very old version of power code, and we're working on moving to Sonar. I don't think, we're not power code, Platypus. I don't think Platypus has any sort of scheduling capabilities. And so trying to work in, into the guy's things, like right now it's the worst possible way. It's like something happens, he stops what he's doing, and goes and helps that customer. Which is great for response time. Oh, well, so-and-so showed up within 2 hours to fix my problem. But like if he's over here or over there, he just does that. Going all the way across the coverage. It's like, well, it's okay to tell the person at the other side of the coverage area you'll be there tomorrow. Yeah, and, optimizing, because you spent an hour driving when you were going to be there tomorrow anyway.
Well,
Yeah,
you
take
change
that hour,
that,
just
like
like
when your
mine.
customers, the built-in expectations for your customers suddenly change, and how do you communicate that to your customers? Okay, well, now our expected response time is, as a residential customer, we will see you within 2 business days if you're offline.
But yeah,
Whatever that may be.
but getting the, difficult when the system doesn't already do that. Or, well, enforce the let's optimize what we're actually doing. I'd rather just spend another hour, learning ins and outs of Unify, or learning how to do, switch configuration or something like that instead of driving. Because he isn't, we don't gain anything than sitting in a truck.
Has anybody here gone through any of the traction or EOS sessions or anything from past?
I was there for some of the stuff on Monday. That was really actually interesting stuff. Unfortunately, I'm just a lowly employee, so it's like,
How do you bring this to your bosses?
yeah, how do I bring it and be like, hey, I want to be managed like
You
this.
tell them to read the book first, that's how you
Yeah. We're doing traction.
I had fun building that scorecard, by the way.
Oh,
I was
okay.
excited.
Yeah.
I was just on the plane down, I was like, I need to build a scorecard, okay? So, no, we've been doing it for a year now, so I was just kind of curious what other people's
Yeah.
experiences are.
For about a year too.
Yeah. I think in a lot of ways, like, so I'm rural telco, and so like they've just been doing the same thing for the last 100 years, and it's been working for them. Thank God for government money. And a lot of the like telephone money is just drying up, and or turning into internet money, and so now we're needing to shift and change and like start approaching it, be like proactive, not be like, hey, let's just build this thing and then just run it into the ground until we decide that we have to build something new. No, like actually have these like goals and achieving them.
I think you're gonna probably see some kind of, paradigm shift with the telcos of, they're no longer gonna be a telco offering internet. It's gonna be an internet company that offers, VoIP or telephone services.
Absolutely.
That's where we are.
Because that's where all the money is going.
Well, let's say telcos, they'll go from being a telephone company over internet to dead. Because most of them, if they have that mindset of we're a telco, then they've already lost. So many of them have already switched into, we are a communications company, we do this, we do that. They've already diversified, they're gonna stay relevant. But
Haven't, or just.
yeah, but the Frontiers and the Windstreams and CenturyLinks and whatnot that have done a poor job of everything for the last 20 years will continue to do a poor job at what they do, and competition from everybody. Cable ate their lunch the last 20 years, something else is gonna take the rest of it.
I have a saying with our organization, and it goes a little something like this: we snuck in through the WAN port. And what I mean by that is
Somebody with a compromised microchip?
No, but within the organization, what the meaning behind it is we sell you internet. We don't want to stop there. We want to sell you a full solution. Like a good example is we have a university on our network. We wound up leasing and building fiber, and then putting, I think it was like 600 access points throughout the campus. It was like 200 switches, a bunch of routers, but they didn't pay for any of it. It's all offered to them through their service, like as an infrastructure as a service platform. It's a 5-year agreement, but it's our belief that when we hit the 5 years, it'll just keep on going. We may have to, replace equipment and upgrade equipment, but it's a good opportunity for all of our companies to make ourselves incredibly useful and sticky.
I find it amazing that people are willing to leave money on the table when it comes to ancillary services. There's certain ancillary services that we're offering that I'm opposed to because I don't feel like they really fit with our core focus of providing better internet at a better price. The primary one being video camera systems.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, the intent with that was for people to be able to keep their internet connections on winter, because we have a lot of snowbirds that they come up during the summertime. In the winter they leave, and we're trying to find ways.
Just transition to water sensors, IoT water sensors, and wouldn't you love to know if there's water in your basement or not?
Water sensors, thermostats, cameras was for the ability for them to check snow load. Basic wireless devices to be able to put it into their home for them to have a better wireless experience. Some kind of wired system that provides wireless throughout their entire home so they don't have issues. I see so many people. The past year and a half, I've seen significantly more people coming to the shows where they're like, we're doing this now because we don't want to leave the money on the table. We want the customers to have a better experience. But 2 years ago, it was like, looked at you like you had two heads when you were like, hey, why don't you, put in a system like this and go that route. The thing I'm seeing now is people not interested in offering, free Wi-Fi through hotspots for their towns. Do you not understand how big of a public perception benefit that is to you?
In the
There's
state,
no monetary
yeah,
value. that you
in the
get.
state I'm in, all you have to do is have a facilitator. Like I can, and we've swept through almost the whole state doing this. You go to the town and you say, hey, there's free money over here in this pot. You just have to facilitate it. We'll put it in, and here's the boilerplate for it.
Yeah.
And then it's literally a 5-minute conversation, and then there's a certain amount that the state will give them to do it. And we've got it down to 2 guys, 2 days. This is what you get, and it's basically 20 blocks of coverage for any town. It's kind of like a boiler that we have down on it now. I don't know if other states have that, but or things like that where there's all these little avenues out there. But and then we brand it. That's what we get out of it. I mean, that we get a one-time project. We start a relationship with that municipality, and then it's a foot in the door to have a bigger conversation. What are their needs, or and it's been really great. So that's the kind of thing, like, we kind of did that whole, just word of mouth kind of thing forever, and that's still happening. We pride ourselves that we have things like 4.4 on Google reviews. Like, that's unheard of for like a big ISP. Like,
Any business.
yeah. So maybe 4.2, and it floats around a little bit, but it's 4+, and we work really hard to maintain that. It's that's our barometer, is how are we doing? Like, how are people how are we being accepted in our marketplace? With our social media reviews and Google reviews.
That it speaks a lot to the company, because I see on Facebook somewhat often where somebody's trying to figure out how to turn off Google reviews or Facebook reviews or something, and it's like, people are saying bad stuff. Well, then yeah, fix it. Or it's like, this person's not even a customer, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I get that's annoying, so I'm not a customer giving a bad review. But most of the time, people looking at reviews will see through it. You respond, what did they say to this?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Mike Jones, we don't see you in our system. Can you please provide us more information to determine, what your problems are?
Well, sometimes
And then follow up.
when you get those bad reviews, there's something you can really do about it, because it might be a bad review about DirecTV's billing process that they're leaving on your site. You have no control over that at all. So
Yeah, that is one of the downsides. Is from a consumer standpoint, I do appreciate the fact that, you can't go in and change it. But again, you have individuals that are coming on that may not be a customer of yours, they may be
Or a child of a customer of yours.
Exactly. Or somebody who, I've had plenty of those where there was various reasons why that was being left, and it's just like, okay, well, we just have to eat that. And the hardest part we found is, okay, maybe 2% of our customers, if that, actually have bad experiences and leave bad reviews because of it. How do you incentivize the other 98% to leave you a good review to offset that? That's the thing that we've been trying to struggle with. Facebook, I think we're like 4.5 stars on Facebook right now, which is awesome, but it's like, Google is almost a lost cause for us, because it's just like, how do I get people to go on there and do that without, going out and just constantly pushing, like, hey, we need reviews on Google, we need good reviews on Google. Like, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
So,
Anytime we get, negative reviews or positive reviews, like, the customers don't know it, but we give them something when we get a positive review. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to call it a care package, but we
discount on it.
yeah.
fruit basket.
Yeah, fruit basket or something.
Yeah, we give them something.
Yeah.
And with a negative review, we're tenacious with it. We'll chase it to the bitter end. We are always going to be the last word on that review. If we got a negative review, then we're going to show that we care through that. Because at that point, if we can't get them to rescind it, then
That speaks volumes to anybody else that looks at it.
That's
They're
right.
saying, these guys are actually communicative. That's a hard thing that we've tried to work on overcoming, is like communicating with our customers about when there are outages or when there's planned maintenance or other things. Is most of the feedback we get from our customers is, hey, I wouldn't have as big a problem if there was communication from you.
Yep.
If your company posted in a consistent fashion, through a consistent method, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, email.
We use this service. Originally it's calling posts, but there's dozens of these companies that do it. We maintain these tables of all the phone numbers that are behind certain resources, and we actually do a proactive, like if we're going to do maintenance, it's like a call blaster. It just calls everyone, it texts everyone too, and then the customers can choose if they want it text or if they want to call or if they want both or whatever. And we get a lot of positive feedback from that because whenever we're going to have a planned network event, we let them know ahead of time. But if it's unplanned, we do the same thing. Like, it's, oh man, this is going on, and then you just select all the,
Everybody that's associated with this as their parent or whatever.
yeah, and then it will select everyone below them and just,
We've done something similar, not quite so real time. We tend to send out a mass email, trying to schedule a week and a half, 2 weeks out. On this date, between these times, you can expect to see issues and send them out to the appropriate parties. So.
We've actually gotten positive feedback on social media and Google about that. It's like, oh, they might not be perfect, but at least they let you know that, this or that, because as we know, nothing's perfect.
You don't have to be perfect, you just have to be better than the next person. Yeah.
But, as far as the show, I thought it was a great showing from all the vendors. I thought it was a lot of the stuff Cambium. I didn't know Cambium bought.
Zyrus?
Yeah.
Zyrus?
That was
News meeting.
Oh, look at that! That happened.
I think I feel like the show is kind of like the intermediate show from next year, where we're going to see a lot of the stuff that vendors have talked about or proposed as, last couple of years, like, hey, this is coming down the pipeline. This year's kind of like, all right, it's still coming down the pipeline, and then maybe next year's show we're going to start seeing, hopefully Ubiquity will have LTU out in a while a little bit more. There's going to be some of the new RFL ones that are going to be 4x4, stuff like that, that's going to be coming down the pipeline. Maybe we'll start hearing some feedback about people in the wild that are using that equipment and having consistent, improvements across their network from it.
Our strategy with LTU is going to be new sites only. Right?
Well, unless they can figure out a way to do the timing to where it can sync with other things. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to do it on your own sites, because that's what we're running into right now. It's like, all right, I have to have a chunk of my spectrum that's just for LTE.
Yeah, which to me doesn't make any sense. Like, timing is timing. But most of it will time with canopy.
They had the time. They had the time to get 5 milliseconds in early builds, and they removed it because they were having issues with, I believe, latency on those higher millisecond timing protocols, and so they ended up switching back to 2 millisecond until they could figure that out.
I was because the 5xHDs will,
They'll sync in point-to-point run. So it's purely the point-to-multipoint software that's not allowed. And it's in there, as the slider's in there, it's just disabled.
Yeah, and I noticed that the tool hin or whatever even still has that language in there, at least.
And you can go and you can technically edit it with command line, but it won't stick. So, yeah. But, I feel like the tech that's available for the wireless side of things, everything's so mature that, you can pretty much, if you were a new WISP, you could walk in there and pick any vendor in there and have a very good experience deploying that.
Yeah.
Across the board, similar with, Sonar, Power Code, Platypus, whatever other offerings are out there I'm not familiar with. You can pretty much pick that up and walk out there and be able to get your feet under you at this point.
I think on the billing softwares like Power Code, all of them have, like for us when we were choosing, I liked and thought at the time, and probably still do in some ways, that Power Code is probably a superior product, but we have 12 drains on our network. So I have about 12 BMUs to make this solution work for us. That was the only reason that we went down that path. Because we jumped in the bandwagon of Sonar, I think it was like 0.7 or something. It was so not anywhere near being ready for us, but we suffered through it. And as a result of that, got things incorporated that we asked for. So that was kind of a trade-off at the time. And it sounds like, that was another thing I heard them say, is because they get some bad feedback about historically having an alternate perspective than their customers on requests. But now it sounds like with what they have built for version 2, they're optimistic that they'll be able to put in custom things in one-off scenarios. Like if you need something very specific, it sounded like they're willing to roll something for you if you're if you're bringing enough volume.
Well, part of that is, there's certain things that you have to do a certain way. Billing is a perfect example of that. There's generally acceptable accounting practices that you have to follow, and some business owners may not realize that, and they're like, well, this way makes more sense to me or may work better, and some of our whoever else simply has to say, no, your bookkeeper or your accountant is going to thank you for not having us do that, because you don't want that, trust me.
Yeah, they were actually saying a lot of stuff like that, and that they were going to be really flexible for their stuff going. But if I recall correctly, Michael, you got time out, so
Yep.
you got to get
I
going.
run.
So, say bye. Anyway,
Bye, everybody.
Get a hold of you.
Yep. MichaelIgniteNet.com.
Yep, that's a great way to get a hold of him. He has all the IgniteNet answers.
I try. I don't know
Thanks
how
for
to go
joining
quite
us.
that far. Yep, thank you.
And then, yeah, and like it turns out that, not every unicorn is correct. Everyone thinks, I have to have everything this way because I'm special. No, like most of the time, you're doing something wrong. There's not one right way of doing something. There's probably 2 or 3, possibly 4. There's not 1,000.
Well,
So you're saying there's multiple ways that you're probably skin a cat?
Right.
Okay.
Well, what's everyone's thoughts on, having a standards body for WISPs? Is having somebody that sets forth.
I've always thought we needed our own routing protocol that was aware of what's happening inside the radios.
Beyond just a routing protocol, I mean, just a
Sure.
standards of
Like it's
acceptable safety practices that are taken from roofing and OSHA, acceptable, deployment standards for wind loading, gathering from the various different, communities, tower communities, construction communities, networking communities, and just kind of making that an all-inclusive for a WISP/BISP provider. Here's your standards body.
I think people are afraid of other people getting butthurt.
They should get over it.
I think a lot of people are afraid if there's a standards body, that the standards body is going to not make standards that they can follow, or make standards that will get them into trouble, even though they don't have a problem right now.
Right.
We do things in our way.
But the lack of definition lets them be okay because there's no definition.
I wish
Yeah.
that there was somebody that had told me what to do with, ladder safety and not letting a customer on the roof so it can fall off and then make a claim on your insurance.
I mean, the biggest thing is there's, the only thing that I would say as an opposition to that is that all of these standards already exist. They're just in various different industries that we're pulling from. Again, whether that's a ladder safety industry or grounding from an electrical industry or, wind loading from the tower industries. These are all things that are, other industries that we just, because of how WISPs operate, we have to, having those integrated into, a consistent method, where as a new WISP coming in or as an existing WISP, you can go to the standards body and know these are the generally acceptable practices to operate as a WISP.
Yeah.
Because that's really what we get from the shows. I mean, from speed dating and from, talking with vendors, talking with other, operators is, how do you do it? Okay, well, maybe that's the better way to do that. Maybe that's the most acceptable methodology for doing it.
And I think a lot of people don't aware, or are when they're opposing, having standards and, they want to be on the outside, is
I don't know
that.
why anybody technical wouldn't like standards. It's like our whole life revolves around it. Could you imagine if there was never an Ethernet standard?
They don't like being told they're wrong.
They want to be the cowboy.
Yeah,
It,
it's gotta be consistent.
But I think it's okay to be variant from the standard if you could document why you're different. Like,
Well,
here's the standard, but I can't do that because of this. But as long as you have that documented, that, you know, if you look at the standard and here's why you can't do that. You know, whether it's, you know, I'm not saying it has to be some formal documentation with some other entity, but it's like if you're building a platform that has site notes and things, this is different from the standard because of X, Y, Z. And then generally, you know, should things ever come to a legal situation where you're negligent, be like, you know, here's your documentation, you violated, you know, you varied from the standard, but you had a reason, and, you know, people, you know, and if it was a good reason, then.
Two thoughts on that one is, I mean, the end goal for every operator is to, or for every business owner is to at some point retire or sell your business, right? And that's like.
Work till you die.
Yeah, or work till you die, I guess, yeah, that's another option. But if there's
Which if you don't have better safety is sooner than later.
Very true. But if you had standards that you were able to follow, you know, the potential for being able to look at a neighboring WISP or another company and say, you know, they meet 80% of the standards that have been set forth by this governing body, that makes it a lot more appetizing for, you know, acquisitions, mergers, purchases, things like that.
It actually makes mergers like that actually possible because like.
And again, it doesn't matter what provider you're using. I mean, you could be having a Cambium and you know, Mimosa or Ubiquity network and having merged, but as long as they're following the same generally accepted practices that are, you know, vendor agnostic, no reason you couldn't do that.
Yeah, I think our whole industry is going through a renaissance on an individual level right now, so having someone like that that's thinking about those things on a collective level would be, I think it would be a good thing, because I think we're all having these kinds of conversations internally, like, you know, like ladders, like that's a big one for us, because, you know, we had an event, but, you know, in tower safety, I mean, at this point, we have like 6 full-time tower staff, and they're all, you know, I think it's trained, certified, and they've got, you know, a couple of them rescue certified, and they have their go bags, and they have to be inspected, and now we have a written protocol on when the equipment has to be inspected, when it was inspected, and then on top of that, the date codes on everything is documented. It's like, you know, all these protocols are being developed for us internally, really by trial and error and bumbling it through the dark and having infractions, and then, you know, having to pay to, you know, to learn this. It'd be nice if someone said, hey, don't write on those lanyards with Sharpies, you know.
Can you imagine if you had a white label documentation that you as an upcoming WISP could simply go to a, you know, WISPAC or WISPAPAC or whoever, you were able to go to this website and download, you know, here's your safety documentation, here's your safety standards, here's, you know, generally acceptable practices for, you know, mounting on roof lines, suggestions for, you know, using 4000 series or 5200 sealant based on roof type, things like that, that you could simply go out and just get that, put your name on it, and know that it's been vetted by the industry. You know that the industry as a whole has vetted that as being an acceptable thing.
How much is that worth to you?
I mean, that's worth a huge amount of time and effort.
Yeah.
I mean, I've already put together some of it personally because people were interested in, you know, what we were doing. And so I was like, well, sure, I'll absolutely white label some of our documentation and provide it to you. Because you, and again, if you know that it's been vetted by the industry, it's, you know, it's like Fox, basically. You know that it's been taken care of. You don't have to go through the process of vetting it.
Yeah, and like there's the like how to start your WISP website, and that's been dead for what, 2 years now? 3?
And I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Like it's never been, you know, pushed at WISPA events or pushed out to mailing lists as far as I'm aware.
Wasn't there like a open IX certification or something like that for exchanges?
Yeah,
Like how to do an exchange?
Well, it's a little bit different because the OpenIX seems to be, you know, basic requirements for data centers and exchanges, but the intent there wasn't to how to make everybody better. I think the intent was to be how do we,
Keep it open,
how do we
neutral.
neutral as long as as you weren't Equinix, Foresight, or Telex. Because really, because the whole intent there, I think was those three were have the industry over a barrel, and how do we make other people vet other people that they're acceptable? Let's make this standard that you know that they're not going to participate in, and then now all these random, other exchanges can have this label, but it wasn't. I don't think it was. I could be wrong. I don't think it was meant for the betterment of the industry. I think it was how do we take those that are bending over the barrel and bend them over the barrel. You kind of circle back. Was there anything else memorable from the show, or
60 gigahertz, a lot of 60
Yeah,
gigahertz.
60 gigahertz.
Yay.
And I was doing that Wi-Fi 60 gigahertz stuff.
Yeah, all the AD and AY, just,
Well, there's no AY out yet.
that's right. Well, the talk of AY,
Yeah.
I guess is
The
a better.
promise of AY.
And AY is when they're opening up additional channels, right?
No, it's a different, yes,
Well,
but also it's just more capacity. It's supposed to be 10 to 40 gigs or something like that.
It's
At least that's what Cammy said.
scale better with multi-point.
There's some people that are still think it's some unproven thing, but Miller, you've got
Lots of them.
lots.
I have a lot of 60, 70, and 80. So,
But anything else you would say to somebody that has not yet been to a show to encourage them to do so?
I've talked to a lot of people just starting off, 0 customers, just trying to figure out how to do it. Spent a lot of time talking about that. So, and they were mostly like people who are kind of in the industry. They're doing security systems and they want to do internet as an add-on. So they already have all these clients that they're doing security systems for. So, it's good.
I guess my biggest takeaway would be, if you're going to be in the industry and you want to have your voice heard, you should be at the shows so that you can speak to your, the governing body of the industry when they're legislating for you or representing you in.
And seeking more spectrum.
Yeah.
We're dead in the water on a number of sites. And we have our fingers, toes, arms, legs crossed that, that something in that 6 gig area comes to fruition.
Imagine what we'd be able to do another
I'm hoping
15.
you don't get it, but we have a lot of 6.
Well, I hope we get it.
Wilson,
We already got that too.
so then JJ, someone who hasn't been to a show in a few years, and you've come back, what do you have to say to people to?
It's bigger. The whole culture is different. It's completely different. It's like the last time I was here, we were all teenagers, and now we all have adult lives. Literally, like the whole industry is maturing. And the first one of these I ever came to, there was no regulatory talk. We're going to, we're doing this. It was conceptual, and we had these ideas on how we were going to impact this change on a legislative level, and but it was all hypothetical. And now it's actually happening, and the industry is being heard, at least. We're not as powerful of an industry on Capitol Hill as others, but at least we're being heard now.
Well, beyond even being heard, they've got representatives from Washington starting to show up. We've got large companies, and Google is starting to partake in it, Facebook's starting to partake in it, and Microsoft's starting to partake in it. So it's really interesting.
Shout out, there was a Facebook guy from my last interview, and I wasn't certain I was going to be able to get my last interview done because he was just chatting with my interviewee Peterson, and they were coming up to me and they're like, hey, his employees I was like, ooh, yeah, I don't think I'm gonna beat the Facebook guy. I
No.
can't win.
And Magid.
But he was nice enough, he realized that I was just standing there waiting, and he's like, oh, you know what, I'm done. And he saw my badge, and he was like, oh, Brothers Wisp, I listen to you guys all the time. So I didn't catch your name, Facebook guy, but thank you very much. Yeah, Facebook guy.
In our market, we have a Facebook data center, and they've been great to work with. They had this whole initiative where they would pay for the kids' internet if we could get it to them. And then they had other initiatives where there's some things I can't talk about that they've done, but it's all been really great stuff. But I have a stack of Forks 10 switches that they gave us, and then ASR 1000s, like stacks of those that they gave us when they started moving in the new stuff. They were just like, here, do stuff with it, and they were just, and they still do that. They're just great, we're trying to move it all forward, and they participate with us as an upstream. We have transit with them at their data center. We have antennas on their data center.
Really?
Yeah.
Because like, I would have always imagined that these big companies would be like, no, fuck you, if you want me, meet me at Ashburn.
No, they were just like, come on down. They're out in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah.
So yeah, because like, there's been actually a few places near Facebook data centers that have asked us to do an IX there. But like, they're not gonna do that, they're gonna wanna meet in Chicago.
If you just like reached out to Facebook corporate, you'd probably get that, but in this case, it was local effort that went into it, like local employees.
Oh, sure, yeah. But like, I never would have thought in a million years that they would have an ISP buying transit off of them.
I can't say that to us it is DIA, but we are announcing, and like, their path looks really odd, but basically it's just MPLS back to Ashburn. Is what it is, but it works great for us, and yeah.
I was excited to see him. I got to chat with the gentleman for 15-20 minutes and ended up adding him on LinkedIn.
Oh, cool.
And so I'll pass along his contact info at some point.
Thanks.
Something else that I took away from sitting through a bunch of CBRS stuff is even the folks that work at all these companies, whether it's CommScope or whether it's Google, because CommScope was on the far left during this presentation and Google was on the far right, they don't know how it's going to work ultimately, like with the SASs.
It's all kind of up in the air at this point.
Yeah.
And I think that's why some of the vendors, this vendor, isn't trying to push into CBRS right here at this point. They're not looking at anything in the 3D band at this point, is because they have no idea where it's going to go.
Yeah.
And nobody does. So this point
It's like, well, it's an experiment.
Or it's more like copy someone and not listen to any user feedback.
There you go.
Perfect. but on what I was hearing them say is, oh, we're going to put up some sensors and then we're just going to do stuff. And then, we kind of had a loaded question that we asked from our group was, we were trying to drill down on like, what are the algorithms behind the scenes that you guys are using, and are they unique per company?
Right.
And how do you make a decision on this emitter is allowed and this one isn't? And so none of that is hashed out yet. And then on top of that, it's like, okay, well, let's say I do business with all of you guys, and then I ask the same question to each of you. Am I going to get a different result?
All this confusion is where this conspiracy theory guys are running around. They're silliness.
Because that was our question: is if I do business, let's say I do business with CommScope and I do business with Google and everyone in between, and I just ask the same question of all of them. It's like, okay, well, I want to put an emitter up right here, and can I get a grant? No. Can I get a grant? No. Can I get a grant? No. Can I get, oh yeah, Google said yeah, there we go, we're good to go. And it's like,
yeah. And very quickly, if that's the way, if there's different algorithms, people are going to figure out which ones are the most forgiving.
Exactly.
And let you on, and that's going to be
and then they're going to game it. Because I was sitting there thinking, well, if they have different algorithms, I'm just going to figure them out. That's literally what I was sitting there thinking,
Yeah. There's plenty of people who make plenty of money off of gaming with Google search algorithm.
I'm not
HFP.
endorsing it, I'm just saying that it's a reality, and if they can't tell us what the algorithm is, then people will likely not know it exactly, but they'll know boundaries of it. Anyway, that was something that popped into my head while I was listening to all this, from a technical perspective.
All right, try to wrap things up a little bit. Got a couple statements from the new guy to the show, never been to a show. Do you have anything to say to people about coming to, I mean, obviously you had a different role than most, but.
Yeah.
What
Don't
is
come here as your first time and be a reporter. It's a horrible idea. Well, it's actually, it's definitely like the weirdest way, I think, to do this. And so my first experience was completely, I'm just gonna go to various vendors and bug them until they let me talk to them for 15 minutes. And, which was really cool, because I got to like just talk and ask some questions that I was interested in. And before and afterwards, I'd just talk with the vendor and be like, well, what about this and that and all this other stuff? And like the vendor was like, well, there was a couple of the radio guys who were like, wow, thank you for not being this hard on the video. I was like, yeah, it's not my job to be. But like into that stuff, but like it was really cool just having all my time with vendors, because I didn't make it to any of the sessions at all, which was frustrating because I was like, oh, I would like to do that, but I'd say a lot of the sessions, like we aren't looking at doing CBRS, so none of that stuff would have been super beneficial for me. And like I know how to do installs, but I don't do installs every day or often, so like none of that stuff would have been like super beneficial for me, I felt, either. And admittedly, I'm the guy who's saying the book doesn't look like I'm going to learn anything from it without reading the book. So that portion, but I would have liked to have gone to some of the routing BGP stuff, but what I did see, I went to some of the business and the EOS, like that looks really cool. I'd really like to see what I can do, and I'll get the book and give that to my bosses and see what I can get happening. But other than that, though, it was so cool. Like, so for me, like coming into the WISP industry, like it's been really interesting seeing like an industry that's completely about communication and completely about like helping each other and making stuff happen. Like the amount of like chatter back and forth between everybody, like the Facebook groups, the Ubiquity forums before they died, all that stuff, like that doesn't exist in a lot of different industries, like in any regards. Like in some regards, but not really. So, you know, you could maybe say the farming realm, but not really. And so like that, being able to have that and share that information with each other, because on a lot of ways, like a lot of you guys could compete against each other. And
I think we had to be this way because we operate in a hostile spectrum. I think that probably is at least it is for our culture, you know, at our company, we're very unique as an industry. It's not like, okay, well, yes, that person is our competition, but none of us win if we engage in, you know, the wrong types of behavior. And so you have, it forces you to, like, we don't have the protections. We can't just go to the principal's office and tell on the, you know, the operator. It's like, well, they were there first, and, you know.
Operator will tell you, I don't care. So I'm like,
yeah, FCC doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, but secondary, like the fibersmith guy, he actually said, like, we are a local first industry. Like, our goal in life is to make, like, a lot of guys have started being like, I'm gonna get internet for myself, and I'll help out my neighbor too. And that's how a lot of these WISPs start, and like, that's almost constantly what everybody was. And so, like, because, like, we started out not as, oh, let's go make money, it's, hey, let's help our neighbors and actually do this and do this well and cool.
That's my story. It's like, oh, wait, look, people don't pay me for this?
yeah, I'll make a good job out of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, very, very different culture, corporate culture for us. And then, so it just changes the ethos. And so it's really cool seeing, like, the Brothers WISP brotherhood, like, you know, in the Slack that I get to see, and I was really attracted to. also be like in WISPA in general, and like a lot of that was just everywhere, and it's really cool. So also member parties were fun.
Yeah.
Ish.
Yeah.
Did you get to eat some pig?
I did.
That's good pig.
It was very good pig.
All right. So then, Tommy, where can they find you after the show?
After the show, you can find me on the Brothers with Slack. Give them money so that if they ever want to send me somewhere again, they can. Or you can find me on the most.
Seems awfully self-serving.
Hey, you know what? Gotta eat. Gotta pay for that hotel room. You can have it.
Sweet swag, man.
Yes. Gotta get my backpacks. Or if you need help with Mimosa stuff, I'm on Mimosa Forums, William 5, that's me, Roha. I hook you up with stuff, and yeah, sometimes I'm around on Facebook, but there's nothing particularly interesting on Facebook that you'll get out of me. So.
JJ? What? Same question?
No, I'm just kidding. Where you can find me. Don't find, no. I'm kind of a recluse these days, like, just trying to move forward. I haven't been socially active at all. Like, I'm just kind of.
Yeah, like,
You're building a business, dude.
I didn't know he was gonna be here until like his wife was on Facebook saying, we're already here.
Yeah. No heads up or anything.
It's like, oh, shit. I haven't seen him in 6 years.
I wasn't even convinced I was coming until I was basically here. Like,
So hopefully I don't go 6 years before I see you next time.
definitely not. We'll figure out a way.
This Brothers Wisp Slack is probably the easiest way to get hold of me. I'm on there all the time, and then Facebook, I would say.
And I think you missed introductions.
I did, I was unfortunately
So now,
working on this business.
so now introduce yourself and then close yourself out.
So, my name is Mackenzie, and I'm with Spit Spots in Alaska, and easiest way to get a hold of me would be similar to these folks, would be the Brothers Wisp Slack. I tend to be somewhat active in there, but always just peering in. So.
And leave me alone, I'm extremely busy.
I think that goes for everybody here.
All he did this entire, like, I've been with Mike, like, almost constantly. Like, every time I see him talking to somebody, it's been so funny. Without fail, it's, government's making me do this, and it's hard doing fiber projects. Why am I around?
You want some wine to go over that cheese? Cheese to go over that wine? I said upwards.
I mean, I have been complaining, yes, but I've also been talking to fiber operators, fiber consultants. We got to track down the attorney here to see what input they have, because I have non-technical problems to solve.
Yeah, there.
Isn't that crazy? Like, that's been the biggest change for me, coming back some years later and reviewing everything. They're not technical problems anymore. They're different.
Yeah.
You can't just solve it by, just knuckling down and, I'm gonna fix this config line one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's that business problems, that business development, man.
That's
Where it's at.
All right,
Thank you all.
Yeah.
see you guys later.
I got another meeting to go to.
Alright, see you, Justin.
I'm going out with all of this.
We talk about equipment and methodology, so sit back and start learning. Lighting up the tower so people can start searching. Shooting up the web in neighborhoods, net surfing. We got horrible jokes, we're loud and annoying, but we're informative facts, we're not disappointing. Just give us a listen, cause fun is the mission. I'm telling you, you don't know what you are missing. Ideas and some good comedy given. If you missed the show already, don't worry, you're forgiven.